good, y'all? Welcome into Cardinalytics, an Arizona Cardinals podcast hosted by fans for the fans here on Thursday. Good Thursday for me. I cannot lie, especially with some of the news that we're getting from the Arizona Cardinals, and potentially welcoming back a certain player that have been waiting in the wings for a while now. So, I want to check in with my co-host, Shad. How are you doing today, bro? How's life living treating you?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Opening day for a lot of teams for basketball was yesterday.
Hmm.
It was good to watch. I mean, I guess the Hawks lost. That's my team. They lost, but it was just good to watch some basketball. And then today we got some, what I'm saying, continued good news because our boy he been practicing, and
Hmm.
it's gonna be real interesting to see how they play it this Sunday.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that obviously when we're talking about our offense. But I previewing this game, obviously, want to start by previewing, giving the rightful dues to the Baltimore Ravens as they should. So that's what we got up next, week 8 at home versus the Baltimore Ravens, holding down the fort, trying to hold it down one more time, or possibly or get on the board holding down the fort. We held it down once versus Dallas, but trying to get back to winning the games at home here. But hosting the Baltimore Ravens, this will be the first time that we played them since 2019, I believe. First time in Arizona since 2015. So it'll be definitely an interesting game. I'm telling you, Cardinals fans now, it'll be a sea of purple. Do not get mad. It's okay. It happens. These northern teams travel very well down to the south, and it'll be no different for this team. Coming into the game, obviously you got the Baltimore Ravens coming off of one of their best wins almost in franchise history. Some may argue dismantling the Lions team, who had a lot of hype, a lot of praise going into it, and they absolutely took them apart, 38-6 on both sides of the ball. Lamar Jackson probably had one of his best games so far this season, dishing the rock out to a numerous amount of receivers. Odell got involved, Zay got involved. Mark Andrews had 2 touchdowns. He'll be a big key for us and trying to slow him down. But yeah, they came off the last game, 38-6 win. Overall record 5-2 on the season. Offense has been around middle of the pack to towards top, but the defense so far is now starting to take charge. Their defense is now second in NFL in total defense. They're first in sacks in the NFL. Just generating a lot of pressure from whether that be the safeties, the edges, or the interior. And then and as well as the defense, like I said, the defense in the whole is second in the NFL. As well as they're a team that's forcing turnovers. They have 9 total turnovers forced, so they're looking to take the ball away from you when you're coming out on that side of the ball. I want to start with us seeing them on
Mhm.
offense. I should say not our offense. I want to start with our defense versus their offense. Obviously, like I said, coming off of their big game last week, where their offense was immediately clicking. I would love to hear what you believe will be a key for our defense, who coming off a game against a pretty decent offense as well, albeit missing DK Metcalf, another pretty decent offense as well. Holding that offense to 6 points in the second half and only 2 touchdowns total. So, what would do you think for yourself would be the key for the Arizona Cardinals to slow down this Ravens offense, who, like I said last week, literally lit up the scoreboard in terms of how they performed and how they played.
Yeah. Did you watch their game last week, by the way? I know it's probably like local, like for
Hmm.
you, right? Like it's
I,
on TV
I
there
I
all the
I
time.
saw it. Yeah, I saw it pretty vividly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, they played pretty much a flawless game last week.
Hmm.
Um, and coming off a game like that and then playing a team like Arizona, hopefully, they might come out a little flat. Like maybe, they might, not prepare as much for us. But honestly, like, it starts with Lamar, obviously, stopping him, and especially stopping him on the ground. He's been throwing the ball really well, like,
Hmm.
lately. Like, I know he had one game where it looked like his stats were, like, it looked like he had a bad game, but his receivers was just dropping passes left and right, and that wasn't the case last game. Like, he was putting everything on the money, and I think he has the highest passer rating out of every quarterback, so far this year, and I know people are already talking about him as a, MVP as an MVP front runner.
Wow.
So, honestly, it starts with him. I was listening to the, press conference today from JG, and they were just
Hmm.
asking him, with Kyler being back, like, does that influence any, like, does that help with practicing against, running quarterbacks and stuff like that, and game plan against it? I mean, he was just like, number 8 is number 8, and it's gonna be a challenge no matter what.
Yep.
So really just, I mean, as good as he's been throwing the ball, you still wanna force him to throw to beat you throwing the football. And he's shown that he's been able to do that recently. But I think that's what you got to do though, like because you don't want him to get off on the ground. And then, I mean, they have Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. Those are two, decent running backs. Justice Hill is pretty dynamic, in space, but I mean, they can run the ball on anybody, you know.
Mhm.
So stopping that first and forcing Lamar to throw the ball and living and dying by that, pretty
Yeah.
much.
I mean, again, for me, this is a different team, like a different Ravens team in terms of how they come out on offense. Like we know them to be the ground and pound team, the north and south run team, and they're completely opposite this year. They implement a lot of east and west stuff, especially with Zay
Mhm.
Flowers and Justice Hill, and then they do the north and south stuff still with Gus Edwards, right? But it is a lot more spread you out, try to open up lanes for Lamar and stuff like that. And I think coming into this game, my biggest key is obviously you want to slow down like Lamar the runner, but I think a lot of it has to come down to what type of coverages you're in, right? In my estimation, they run a lot of RPO run heavy stuff that they love to do. That
Mhm.
against zone is a killer in my estimation. Like when you run RPOs against zone, it either gives you the option of having to run the ball or be able to pass into those zones that may be open on those RPOs. I
Especially with
think
Lamar.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so I think a lot of man coverage will be needed this week, and you'll just have to win. Somebody like you have to choose to win on these man coverage routes. I think a lot of it. Odell Beckham Jr. is older, but he's still effective. Zay Flowers is a very effective route runner, and then Rashad Bateman is coming into his own, but we know him to be a pretty decent route runner when has a chance to be. And then Mark Andrews is one of the biggest, most physical tight ends that we know out there. So he's able to get open
Mhm.
based off his size alone. I think a strong key is just getting a chance to play that man coverage because if you play that man coverage with the spy, obviously, of course, you don't want Lamar to leak out on his own, but with a spy, like that negates their RPO game, which I think is the reason that has elevated their offense into the terms of what they've been, at least making reads easier for Lamar to dish out. And because now his receivers are now creating space on their own and he's able to
Mhm.
dish it out a little bit more. So I just think obviously you want to look to stop, like slow him down, but I don't think there is no slowing him down. I think he is one of the
Yeah.
top whatever quarterbacks is in this league, and he'll get his based off of his play and his running ability and his ability on with the arm as well, which has been like you mentioned very prevalent this year. So I just
Yeah.
think you force them to play inside of a phone booth, and then you give it up from there. But if I see Marco Wilson 10 yards off to start the game, we're in trouble. We are in
I mean,
trouble.
I think Marco matched up on anybody on that team, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
But, like, who do you think is gonna be spying Lamar? 'Cause, that's a good point, like, we're gonna
Mhm.
have somebody on him, like, spying him every play, like, I don't know. I wouldn't imagine it'll be Kaiser. I would imagine probably maybe be, like, Josh Woods or somebody, I'm not sure.
Yeah. It'll find one of those backers will find themselves as the spy. You
Mhm.
obviously your best case scenario, you would want like a Buda Baker to be a spy for him in terms of his ability
Yeah.
to get out there, but he's gonna have responsibilities and coverage and stuff like that. So it'll
Mhm.
probably be a Josh Woods. I saw Chris Barnes pop up on the injury report, so he likely won't be out there, but it
Mhm.
likely will be a Josh Woods type of player or a Kazir White or a shared duty role, or they let's see if this week they choose to heat him up and blitz up a little bit more and force him inside those lanes because while this is not a Mark Roman offense anymore, I can understand that. I do understand that there was a game last year in Miami where literally they blitzed the shit out of the Ravens and they could not do anything with it. And
Yeah.
that was the one type of defense almost that slowed that style down. And obviously this is a different scheme and stuff like that. But still, I
Mhm.
think you try to force them, like I said, to play in some type of phone booth to make things harder for them because again, this offense is electric when if you get out into space. So if you allow that, then you'll be in trouble because you'll be having to make tackles all day long. We'll be seeing our corners and safeties make tackles all day long. But if you force them,
Mhm.
to hesitate a second bit or force them, like I said, to play in that phone booth, I think you can have a little bit of success slowing them down, and it'll come down to defense bending and not breaking. That's literally with the
Yeah,
talent that
I
we
mean,
have.
that's what it comes down to every week, you
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like,
with the
'cause
with the talent we have, it'll always be about bending and not breaking and choosing to try to close down that red zone. And the one game that the Ravens did end up losing with to the Steelers, it was red zone woes that got them.
Mhm.
just as much as it was. I think the first game they lost, which I'm blanking the team that they lost to. Who did they lose to? I cannot think of that right now. Gotta look that up. But
The Colts.
yes, yes, yes.
The
Another
Colts.
red zone game. Another game where
Yeah.
they failed. It was raining, so that was a part of the game. But another game where they failed to convert as much as they should in the red zone. So obviously,
Mm,
this is that key area is one that the Cardinals seem to cherish a lot because they have been a team of bend no break. So you got to keep that same mentality going into
mm,
it this week. Any key players you're watching out for on the defensive side of the ball? Maybe a matchup per so. I personally think a great matchup to watch this week is definitely Buda Baker versus Mark Andrews. Um,
mhm.
we know Buda Baker won't be sticking him all the time, but just seeing if he has the ability kind of to shadow him just a little bit and slow him down, and knowing that's Lamar is obviously his number one target on that team, you want to be able
Yeah.
to limit him to instead of 5 catches or 7 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown, you want to limit him to maybe 3 or 4 catches for 40ish yards and no touchdown. So definitely
Yeah.
excited to see Buda versus Mark Andrews. How about you?
Yeah, I think for me, like, and I think for the most part, this is the case every week, just because the secondary is like like the weakest part of our defense. Like, I'm always interested in seeing like the matchup with the young guys. Like, I don't care about Marco, but I'd be interested to see if Keytrail gets some more playing time this week, or if Starlin's still out there, and see how they do up
Mhm.
against Odell and Zay. I'd imagine Garrett will be lined up against Zay a lot in the slot.
Yep.
And that's gonna be a tough task because those dudes are like you said, like you said about Odell, like he's a vet, but and he's kind of older, but he can still get open against
hmm He caught
pretty
his
much
groove.
anybody.
He caught his groove last week. You could tell he
Yeah,
caught his
yeah.
groove last week.
I think he led the team in receptions last week,
hmm
with like 5 or 6 or something like that. And
hmm
Zay been balling. So
hmm
I'd say those two. I guess just our young cornerbacks, Starling, Keytrail, and Garrett going up against a wide receiver core, which
Yeah.
I mean, I say surprisingly, but like they haven't had wide receivers like this in a long time, and like they actually balling with them.
I'm highly interested to see, and again, this could be something that may not happen, but we know Jalen Thompson was playing a lot of slot to start the season.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if they bump Garrett outside. Marco Wilson, you come sit next to me, and Jalen Thompson, you play slot outside Garrett, outside Starlin, Buda Baker, and Chashier, whoever they choose back there else with them, and that's how they implement their five
Yeah,
DB
I think
look. So
I think that'd be best to do and just go ahead
yeah.
and bench Marco. But like, is Jalen playing this week? I don't know.
I don't not sure. I know he was out there practicing the last 2 weeks. So these have
Mhm.
definitely been 2 weeks for him to get implemented or not implemented, but he was practicing
Recovery.
this week. So he was so he's
Mhm.
on the road to some type of recovery, and I don't think his hamstring was as big of a deal as Buddhist was for IR. So he's been out, I believe, the last 2 weeks now. So
2 weeks. Yeah.
uh, this is a kind of possibly a landing spot for him to be activated this week and be out there. So I
Hmm.
would love for him to be out there because then literally we would now have our week one DB room back out there, which would be lovely outside of the guy we just outside of Kayvon Wallace. But you do add a
Yeah.
Garrett Williams in there now this time, and like we
Hmm.
said, Keytrell Clark could possibly play too. So I'm definitely interested to see what this DB room can bring towards us. And as we welcome in brother Jake, how are you
Oh,
feeling
that
today,
man's in
good
the
boss?
car.
Hey, yeah. How's it going, boys? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you're
Yes,
good.
sir.
All right,
We were
sweet.
just talking a little bit of the defense this week versus this obviously electric Ravens offense. What do you think possibly this defense has to show this week to help allow the team to be in a position to win? Because we know just the defense alone isn't going to get isn't going to get the win this week. But what do you think they have to do to lead this week to kind of slow down that Ravens offense, who's coming off of a electric win last week at home versus the Lions?
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a tough test on defense. Obviously, goes without saying. Um, I mean, I'm not sure if they play like they did last week. I don't know if there's really anything we're going to be able to do. But what I'd like to see is just limit the explosive plays. Force Lamar to have to throw the ball, and hopefully we can make something happen from there. But if they get that run game going, it could be a
Mhm.
very similar score to what they did to Detroit last week. So fingers
Yeah.
crossed on that one.
No, I agree with that. Like in terms of or people that say how electric their offense was, like in terms of there were a lot of throws Lamar did have to make. There were also a lot of like undisciplined plays from the Lions, like a bunch of wide open guys running around, leak outs, um,
Mhm.
just a bunch of stuff like that where their eyes got caught in a different place. So I just think it'll be game plan discipline in terms of like knowing where your eyes need to be and keeping them there and knowing your responsibility on every play because like I mentioned, like one of the plays I can think of is Pat Ricard leaking out of the backfield and having like a 40, 50-yard pass or catch and run.
Yeah, I
And
think
that was like the
Gus
longest
Edwards
of his career.
Gus Gus Edwards had like an 80-yard catch or something like that.
And so like these guys were leaking out and getting past Lions defenders without them even recognizing and stuff like that. And that was like a thing that if we're the Cardinals, like we can't have that happen to us. Like that can't be those little mental errors. We're already deficient in talent. Like those little mental errors can't happen. So I'm definitely hoping that Nick Riley is circling those key things of just keeping game plan discipline 100% and keeping your eyes where they need to be because that'll help the situation overall. But
Look, and that game that they played against Detroit, it got away from Detroit quick. So
quick,
honestly, like, I mean, if we come out and we let's just say we hold them to like 24 points or something like that in the game, even if we don't win, I feel like that's a win for our defense, like
yeah,
going up
yeah,
against that offense because they're definitely clicking.
yeah, for sure. And I'm in my head thinking to myself, you need you just need a couple of stops here and there. And again, Lamar, he's a great player, but he has been a little bit suspect when in terms of holding on to the ball. So I think if there is any way that Zaven does get home, or Dennis gets home, or whoever may be back there, BJ, Vic, whoever may be rushing the passer, if you get back there, chop at that ball a little bit. Let's see if he's holding on to it well. Let's see if he's focused on you guys. Because again, this is a game where, as focused as they may be on their main goal, nobody's underestimating the Ravens this week. It wasn't like last week. Nobody's underestimating them as a team. So, and this is a road trip for them. This is a time for them to go West Coast, and this is I want to see their first West Coast trip of the year, right? So this would be the first time for them
Mhm.
to have a chance to really get out from a different type of time zone area. Just see what happens in that. So I'm definitely excited for this defense to have an opportunity against this great offense. And if you slow them down, obviously your defense gets a lot of respect and it turns the ball over to the offense. So let's get straight into it. Obviously, there's a big looming decision that the team has to make this week. Um, Before we talk about that, though, I do want to get into maybe some keys that we have offensively to try to attack this defense. Again, this defense is number 2 in the NFL in terms of team defense right now. I can think of just studs on every level of that field. Starting with Marlon Humphrey, they're all pro corner. Um, him versus Hollywood is my main matchup to watch. Those guys went at it in practice for years. And so I'm excited to see him in a game sense. This is Hollywood's first time getting a chance to play the Ravens since he's been traded. So I know there's a little bit of anger from both sides on terms of that. So I would love to see how he kind of responds this week and gets a chance to play. And then on top of that, like I said, Marlon Humphrey, all pro corner. You have Jadeveon Clowney, who's playing great ball for them right now on the outside edge. Kyle Hamilton, who's been a box safety, but been a range safety, so been literally all around. He is what Isaiah Simmons is supposed to be in the NFL, literally, but he's actually doing it. So, as well as guys like Marcus Williams, who's been a great addition for them since last year. Those linebackers, obviously, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, two great inside linebackers. Probably,
Their defense is
yeah,
stacked. It's just stacked.
probably the top. If you don't have Fred Warner and Drake Greenlaw as your number one, those guys are probably your number one linebacker core. So, literally, like Shaw said, just stacked all around the board in terms of defense. Offensively, though, what are some keys that we think can win a game? Because I'm gonna just put it out flat. I'm just put it flat out there. I don't think we're running the ball at all. I don't think we'll be able to run the ball as much as we may want to run the ball. I don't think we'll be able to. And if we do, that'll be a great thing for us. But I don't think we'll be able to do that. So, like for me, one of my keys is the passing game. Can Hollywood Brown get open and make an impact in this game? Can Michael Wilson have an impact in this game? Can you take the top off of this defense and force them to back off of you a little bit to be able to run the ball? So that to me, obviously, it should be key number one is being able to push them back. You have to be able to get them off of you because they will crowd the line of scrimmage because they know we want to run the ball because we have almost 20 plus plays of explosive runs. They know that we want to run the football. Are we going to be able to push them back, get them off our tails a little bit to then run the ball? So keys for you, Shaw. What are you feeling this week in terms of offensively? Just how can we attack this team who, like we mentioned, has been one of the best defenses in the NFL so far?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you. I don't think we're gonna be able to run the ball, and hint, hint. I don't know if we're gonna be able to. I don't know if we're gonna win the game, but I mean, if we do, like, I feel like it would definitely come from us having to capitalize on some, good field position,
Mhm.
and I think even before, like, passing the ball, like completing those passes, I think the guys up front got to block better.
Yeah.
Um, for sure, like, they gotta block better because, like you mentioned, like, Jadavion's been playing well lately. Um, I think, what's the dude, Matabuke? He's been playing pretty good too on
On
the
the inside,
interior.
yeah.
Yeah, uh-huh. And then, like,
Still got Owe, who they
yep,
took in the
yep,
first round. So
yep.
guys.
So, yeah, and they got some guys, and it's like, I think it starts up front, like, DJ Humphreys, I'm giving you another chance. Like, I felt like you got, what I'm saying, uh they did you wrong. They did you dirty by ejecting you last game because I didn't
Mhm.
think he should have been ejected for that little slap on the head. Um, but you got another chance. Like, you need to be on your A game.
Yep.
You're supposed to be a leader on the team. Like, you got another chance. Um, yeah, it just starts with the blocking, man. Like, up front, and hopefully, like, I don't know. Like, what do y'all think? Like, if Kyler's active, do y'all think he plays? Or first off, do you think he's going to be active for the game?
Mhm. Jake, go ahead. You can answer that. I know you got some feelings on that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say if Kyler doesn't play, there's 0% chance we can win the game. Uh, we had 3 turnovers last week, 2 in plus territory, 3 points off that. Like, team's a mess without Kyler. Dobbs, if you guys don't think we're going to be able to run the ball, which I don't disagree with you, but we can't pass the ball. So, like, that's pretty much your answer as to, like, what's going to happen. Unless, like, something insane happens, like special teams turnovers or
Right.
defensive scores. I mean, Dobbs is. I would go as far to say as like he sucks at this point. That like at least is like a pure passer. Obviously, you can extend some plays, but no, I got to double down on that. Like if Kyler doesn't play, we're not going to win. It probably won't be close. It's probably going to be another day where I just wallow in self pity and just count down the days before we have meaningful football again. But no, I'm going to say it's probably like a 15% chance that he plays. Obviously, he's been active the last 2 days with no injury designation today. But, based on like what was said leading up to this, it sounds like they wanted to give him some real time to re-implement himself. And he still has been throwing to practice squad pass catchers. So if that's any indication, it doesn't look like he's going to go. I have heard that apparently inside sources say he's begging to go, but that the team is treading lightly on rushing him back. So I don't. I guess long story short, I don't think he's going to play. I hope to God that he is, because I'm telling you, if he plays, I'm not counting us out of the game. I think we actually have like a legit shot. So I
Mhm.
guess that's all I got on that.
I'll say I think there's a 40% chance he plays, and to me, yes, he has not been activated yet off his window, so that is to me is the next hurdle, obviously. But a player who has an injury designation. And so right now, to me, physically, he's ready. You're taking him off. You're not giving him a injury designation. He took a full day. And while yes, Jake, he has been throwing a practice squad players with what the clips that we can see when they go inside the bubble, we don't know a thing what they do.
No, yeah, that's a good point.
That's
We
true.
we
That's
don't
a
we
really
don't
good
know
point.
we don't know a zero thing that they do. So he could have easily been in there throwing to all type of guys and running first team reps. And the fact that you haven't last week they easily named the starter on Wednesday. They have not named the starter yet. It could be a
Yeah.
competitive advantage. It could be whatever they needed to be. If he's pushing to play, to me, it was always when he's mentally like that's what I heard. When he's mentally and physically ready, we'll put him out there. When he's when he is him, which means he is the one person. And when the one person's ready, the one person will go. It's not about so much. It's not so much so in my estimation, not so much so like this may be the plan all along, whatever the case may be. That may be right for the rookies that they drafted or whatever the case may be, but this is his own entity right now because it's the main position that you need to win football games. And if Jonathan Gannon is about winning football games, whatever the case may be, whatever that looks like, he should play. I'd like to me, it's unfair on us as fans who most of the stuff that we get is just from the reports, just from whatever the social media team puts out, whatever that looks like. You sitting there putting eyeball emojis every time he sits there with a full designation. So we're gonna sit here and tweet eyeball emojis for a whole week.
Yeah.
To me, something is saying, boom, he's been pushing to play. He's physically ready. He's not wearing a brace. He's not wearing a knee sleeve. He's been easily in that bubble throwing to Hollywood, Michael Wilson, Trey McBride, all these other guys. And it just comes down to the fact that, yes, he has not taken any live football reps with Yeldo Froho under center. I'm sure he's done it in practice a million times. The only way you get reps is by playing. The only way you get reps is by playing. And a bunch of people talking about Atlanta's a sweet spot. No, it's not. They're in the number 3 defense. In the next 3 weeks, you play the top 3 defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
There is no easy outing. There's not a single easy outing. So again, like a lot of people want to seem like they're smarter than the situation about stuff like this was always the plan. This is what my sources told me. This is what bro. At this point, we're past source information. He's not active, but he's been practicing. He's been getting full practices and not limited. If you guys remember, Garrett Williams got limited until he was ready to play. And when you're so to me, like when you're getting fulls, which means you're practicing, when you go in that bubble, you're doing whatever your position is requiring. And that is so far so much QB as in QB1. And so I'm giving it 40%. I'm giving it 40% for the 60% that a lot of it may not actually happen. And it may just be a tease. And he may even be activated, but like I mentioned, like I told y'all in the chat, he may be activated, but be the QB2 in case anything happens to Dobbs. And then he goes out there. And then week 9 is the one where he starts with a full rep of obviously being the starting quarterback for the week and and you preparing. But
that's so lame though, bro. If you're gonna put him out there, if Dobbs gets hurt, just put him the fuck out there. Like
I agree. But it is still in terms of that steps because I don't know how QBs operate throughout the week, and I've never been in an NFL building like from a week to week basis to say this, but like I would just think in my head, you want to be known that you're the starter as soon as that last as soon as that Monday hits. This is the starter. You're preparing for this team, XYZ. And yes, QBs go through the motions at the same times, but Petzing and Wolford could be teaching things differently to Dobbs versus how they teaching it to a backup quarterback versus how they teaching it to Clayton Tune, right? So like at the end of the day, like the fact that we haven't gotten that isn't giving me 100%, but I'm giving it 40%. Like I'm giving it 40% off of the notion that it was always when he was physically and mentally ready. We'll never know when he's mentally ready because that's all on him.
Yeah, you never gonna know that.
Right now, we know he's physically ready. Why? Because he logged a full practice. Why? Because he's not wearing a sleeve or a brace. And then why? Because he was taken off of the injury designation. So when we have a report tomorrow, his name won't even pop up on his injury designation. So it's a lot of it's a lot of factors in it. It's a lot of
99% of the time when like a player is like a full participant at practice, especially a starter. They're playing for sure. They're playing,
and the only block, like we mentioned, the only block is the practice window. The only block is him have to be activated off of the pup. If he was already activated off of the pup and he was getting fulls, and anybody would think in their right mind that he's playing. So like,
my thing, I kind of have a different take on it because like I definitely want to see Kyler play, and I don't know if he's gonna be activated. Like honestly, I have no idea how they're going to approach this, but like if they do activate him and let's say like they go the route where it's like, okay, Dobbs is the starter, but Kyler, you know what I'm saying, if anything happens, he's the backup. All right, well, I'd like to think that I know that we're probably going to get blown out with Dobbs in the game. Treat it like a preseason. Like second half, okay, Kyler come out, you run the first team off, you know what I'm saying? You run the first drive or whatever. Like treat it like a preseason. ease him back in so that way he gets some like actual some game time snaps. And then going forward to the next week, obviously he's a full-time starter, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
To me, the only problem with that is what if we start the third quarter, we're up 17-10. They take Dobbs
yeah,
out.
nah, you gotta ride with Dobbs if that's the case. Yeah, you gotta ride with Dobbs if that's
I
the
I I
case.
say
But
I say you play I say you play Kyle at hella high water this week. Like at the end of the day,
I
yeah,
agree.
if he's if it's always been about him. It's always been about if he's ready. I do not. Josh Dobbs, yes, he had a full offseason training camp. Yes, he had off seasons of taking snaps and throwing the ball and XYZ. I highly doubt that Kyler Murray has not been doing any of that for the last 8 weeks, for the last a whole entire offseason. We watched him in the flight plan episode throwing with his father and throwing consistently and keep getting that arm
yeah,
ready, getting the arm. I think we mentioned this last time. Getting that arm ready, keeping it live, keeping it warmed up. Like all you're telling me now is that he has to understand a play call, listen to it, and call it and run it. I think he's been watching Josh Dobbs run these same exact plays for the last 8 weeks. I think he's been sitting there every time we're on offense with a tablet, looking at the tablet at the end of the play and making sure he knows where he's going with it. I think he has a new
Yeah.
understanding of I have to now take the planning of the football operation seriously to know that I need to be ready on game days to know where the ball needs
mhm,
to go. And yes, we won't have James Conner. Yes, the offense line has been a sieve. It probably will be a sieve for the rest of the season, anyways, until it gets fixed. Like it's just the amount of excuses I'm hearing for him not to play is more frustrating than letting him just do his own thing. Because if he was the one saying, I won't be ready until this, I won't be ready until that, cool, fine. He's been pushing the play since week one.
yeah,
You'd only be saving him. The only person you'd be saving is yourself from looking stupid if he gets hurt again. That's to me, that's the only person that they're saving because if he's your guy, you shouldn't be worried about if he gets injured and you
yeah,
I never I to that all that like the analysts and what they think about the game and how they think a team will operate in a certain sense. I've always been told from Jonathan Gannon from day one that he took the job because Kyler Murray was here. He took the job because it was already a franchise quarterback in place. There's no better feeling than that, and that he is their starter and he was their guy, and that was the person that they would want to run this operation and run the ship with. So until he says differently, what he said.
yeah.
And what they always said was mentally and physically, when he's ready, he'll go.
And I was about to say, just like to add on to that, like, if that like if which I believe that's the case too, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I look at it too. Like, if he's our franchise quarterback, like I don't necessarily like even if he's ready this week, like I just want to make sure that everything is 100% like good. Like everything around him is good. If let's just say Dobbs maybe start off on Wednesday, even though Kyler was a full participant in practice. Let's say
Mhm.
Dobbs was running with the ones or whatever. I want everything to be like, okay, we start off this week like Kyler, he knew he was the quarterback starting this week. Like he
Okay.
went through everything. Like I want everything to be completely good so that I know going into the game, okay, I prepare him to be in the best position to succeed,
Mhm.
for us in the game. And if that's not the case, then I'm gonna be a little hesitant if I'm the coach or whoever who's throwing him out there, even if he's ready. And I'm not saying that I know everything that's going on inside the what I'm saying, inside the organization, what they've been doing this week. But that's kind of my thought process and how I look at it. I want to ease him in if he hasn't been if he's really itching to play, and let's say we activate him, but like
Mhm.
he hasn't gone through a you know, full week of practice of being with the ones and doing things how like Dobbs has been doing things for like the past 6 weeks or whatever, 6, 7 weeks, then I would be more on the side of kind of like easing him in.
Mhm. What about you, Jay?
That's just me.
I'd like to see him just go. Like if he's physically there, you can't worry about him getting hurt again. Like this type of injury sustained here by dozens of these guys. Uh, the fact that he's not even wearing a knee brace is like unheard of for a quarterback with this type of injury,
Mhm.
which is honestly a great sign because that means he's still looking to be mobile, which is huge because we can't act like that's not one of his attractive
Yeah.
traits um,
Mhm.
as a franchise guy. But like I said, if he's physically ready to go, like I don't want to wait around. I mean, it all comes down to like my bad. It all comes down to what you guys are, I guess, as fans, what you're looking for out of the rest of the season. Because like you like say he like plays this week and balls out, and like offensive line is like trying a little bit harder, like blocking a little bit stronger, and like the defense is flying around a little bit faster, and we knock off the Ravens. You get to and it's like, okay, like we can definitely beat Atlanta. The Browns still have PJ Walker, like we could beat them. That's kind of where it's at for me. Like, I don't know if he comes out and we beat the Ravens, which like, I mean, their money line should probably be like minus 700. Obviously not quite that much, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't really, on paper, we don't really have any chance. So like, if he plays and looks like his old self, and or like better than that because he's got competent coaches around him and gels with Petzing and wants to impress Gannon, because obviously like they have that nice connection. Then it's like, yeah, like I don't know, I don't want to mess around and like just like slowly roll him out. Like let's go see what he can do, and like because that's the thing too. Like heading into obviously like you'll have the deadline. Like we're probably not going to do much to really add with the deadline. Probably maybe sell some veteran pieces if anything, but obviously the off season too. Like we want to start making this Arizona like destination location for some of these players, and not just the Dwight Freeney's of the world looking to collect a check and stay warm before they retire. So yeah, I mean, him coming back is crucial to the overall operation and the sustained success of the franchise moving forward. So that being said, personally, I don't want to screw around with it. Like if he's good to go, like let's throw him out there and let's go play some football. I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
And I mean, that's where I'm at with it. Like again, like it was always the physically ready. It looks to seem to me that he's physically ready, and now the mental, the like, I get the new like the main gist of a lot of people's argument, like kind of how Shad is saying, is like the new offense, like is he ready, or not even so much is he ready for the new offense, but is he mentally ready to go into a week preparing for the game, like, and that is a fair point. Go ahead.
My whole thing is just like if I'm like a coach or somebody, I don't want to feel like I'm putting him in a position to fail. If I feel like if he wasn't fully prepared to play, the full game.
To me,
That's
wasn't it always what these naysayers that Kyler was saying was that it's the studying, the film room habits, the meeting room habits that were not there. They've told us nothing, but he's been an absolute what's the word I'm trying to use?
Junkie.
Basically, he's basically been obsessed with learning this new offense, obsessed with being in the film room, answering questions, being quizzed when it comes to stuff like that. And again, like I mentioned, you can see him every time we're on offense. He's either he's up, he's at the sideline with the tablet, looking at the previous play, just seeing whatever it is. Like he was already making those mental. When we saw him with JG, when he was still on the pup list, out there in practice, making those mental looks, mental reps, and whatever the case may be. Like physically, yes, you need to be able to throw the ball well, and whatever that looks like. And I don't doubt that at all. But if we're talking about the mental side of what Kyler Murray needs to be better at, which is what a lot of us said it was never the physical talents. It was always, was he mentally able to handle the offense? Like this is what he's been doing for the last month or 2 months or off season or whatever the case may be. Ever since they've been hired, they've said he's been obsessed with learning whatever he needs to learn. And this is for the first time. I don't know if I've ever noticed it. He had a play call sheet on his wristband or on his wrist. Like in practice, he had a black play sheet on his wrist. I've never seen that when it came to Cliff. But again, this could mean that, not saying he's playing, but this could mean that he's sitting here taking those mental reps seriously, even on the field, wanting to know what he needs to be doing on the field, and he's looking at his wrist, making sure the play call is right before giving it. And again, like I don't doubt that him and Hollywood, even without him playing, have chemistry. They've been playing with each other for years now, so I don't doubt that him and Hollywood don't have chemistry. I doubt that maybe him and Michael Wilson may have some like non-chemistry, but I don't doubt that him and Rondale don't have chemistry. I don't doubt that a lot of the players on our offensive side of the ball don't have chemistry because he's played with them before. And right now we're just talking about, can he understand what play to call and what is the read in that play call? Like I think that is a small hurdle to overcome in the next 2 days when you're at home and you're getting ready for a game. It's not on. They're not. It's not like they have to take a flight tomorrow and get ready for a game on the
That's
road and stuff
true.
like that. They're at home. They have 2 days now to like fully practice on whatever they need to practice on, and he can get that accurately right.
Yeah.
Like that to me is just the biggest thing that we're talking about. Like we said, like a lot of people want to talk about the sweet spot when it comes to a home game, and Atlanta's not sweet, so that's not an easy game either. So like there are no easy games in the NFL. There are no easy outs in the NFL. Like Cardinals may be an easy out in the NFL this year, but overall there's not really any ever easy outs in the NFL. So like you can't pick a day and say this will be the team that's perfect for him because it's so sweet and they're so easy. No, you just have to put them out there. You gotta put them out there, and when you put them out there, whether it be against a great team like this one or a shitty team like us, like you have to just put them out there and see where the chips may lie and see what you have in him. Because if you don't have something good in him, the more time you get to evaluate him, the more time you have to think about what you want to do with him. Just like if you're locked in on him, if you're locked in on him, he doesn't play to Atlanta because you're like, oh well, we already know this guy's good and this like that. And it may be the mentally that you want him to get 2 weeks of practice reps, 3 weeks of practice reps, whatever the case may look like. But our defense not good. How much better are you going to get when it comes down to defense practicing against us? It's not that great. So to me, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think it just comes down when it comes down to like the practice time. It's just like, okay, how confident are we how confident are we in him to go out there and execute, the game plan and everything like that. And obviously that definitely takes time with, a new coaching staff and a new playbook and stuff like that. So, I mean, if you're confident that he can go out there and execute and do all that stuff like this week, then yeah, you throw him out there. But I just feel like, you know what I'm saying? If he's properly prepared, if you've gone through the week and you say, okay, we properly prepare him to start the game, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to win the game. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to win the game. And if I feel like, and I'm not saying that Kyler gives us the best chance to win the game, like over Josh Dobbs. But what I'm saying is going into the game, each week is different when you're going up against defenses or different teams and stuff like that. And you're practicing what you run one week might not be what you run the next week. And so you might change the entire game plan, or not the entire game plan, but you might tweak the game plan. And let's say Kyler, okay, well, he practiced with the twos for the first 2 days of this past week. And he might not necessarily be at the level that you want him to be at to execute going into the game this week. Not saying that he might not, not saying that he's not ready. It's just that, okay, well, physically and mentally he's ready. He can make the throws. He can go out there. He can play without like fear of injury and stuff like that. But can we trust him to execute the game plan? And as a coach, I would say I could trust him if I know I've set him up for success. And by setting him up for success, I know I've given him the correct amount of practice time, whatever it may be. Maybe it's just a week. Hell, to Jonathan Gannon, it might just be 1 day. It might just be like, okay, well, I gave him 1 day of practice, and I'm confident with that's enough. But if it was me, I'd say at least a week. So I don't know what they did this week. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what they had going on this week. But if that's how he feels, then throw him out there.
Do we think this we gotta wrap this up soon because I know we got predictions and stuff like that. Chasing on 45 minutes now. Like, do we think it, like, to me, I don't know. Like, yes, the injury reports are about physically how the player feels in terms of that, but you eliminating him completely off of it, to me, signifies like your confidence in him as a player going forward. But at the same time, I definitely do hear your argument in terms of they want to see him get a certain amount of reps in terms of practice time and whatever that may look like, to confidently know that he's ready to go out there and perform to the best of his abilities, even if he believes so. I just the amount of teasing that they continue to do, to me, is just like it does not sit right. And I'm not no conspiracy guy or whatever the case may be or whatever it is, but like at the end of the day, like you can't. They did this with the flight plan, talking about how he may be ready to go week 1, but that wasn't so much so, like that was obviously a trailer for a video, and that was a video broadcast production. Like This week they've been full on talking about how much he is ready and how he's practicing in full. And I don't know. To me, if he could still be practicing in full, but be in limited designation when it comes to injuries, because Garrett Williams looked great too in practice, but he was still getting limited. He was still getting limited. He was still getting not full practices. The only week when he literally was playing was when he got a full practice, and I feel like that's how they've operated for every player. So why wouldn't they do it this week for the best for one of their better players? And it'll be an interesting 2 days. These next 2 days are obviously huge for this franchise in terms of this, not just this game, but getting your guy back is what this entire fan base has been yearning for, at least since he got hurt. So it's like, and as much as people have mentioned it, like, yes, if Cliff Kingsbury was still here, he probably would have been out there, week 6. But he's not here, and so he does have to do offense. So he does have to learn things like that, and it does take time. And these are sensitive subjects, but something in my heart, something is telling me he's gonna go. Something's telling me that on Sunday he's suiting up, bro.
Kyler's gonna tweet something. He's either gonna tweet I'm playing or he's not gonna tweet nothing at all. That's what it's gonna be.
Because if he comes off on Saturday, he's playing. Like it's no really ifs, ands, or buts at that point. If he comes off on Saturday, he's playing. Like that has to be. Go ahead.
You just gotta shoot him a text.
You breaking up a little bit. Just go ahead. I think
you just gotta shoot him a text. I know you guys are on that level.
Oh man, let me go grab my phone right now. But overall, I mean, it like I said, it'll be an interesting 2 days. I'm glad that we're finally talking about this. This is the fun stuff. Obviously, we've gone through the mud first couple of weeks of being good with Josh Dobbs and being bad, and kind of having a slower pace into the season for us. But now is when things kind of start heating up, and we start to talk about the good stuff, which we want to talk about, which is getting that guy back. So obviously, let's get into score predictions. I got us winning if he's playing. I can't. I can't if he's playing. Like Jake mentioned with the juice. I think that does bring a lot of juice to the team, and I think his added ability on being able to connect on some of these throws that Josh Dobbs has missed adds that dynamic to having an extra first down here or there, or converting in the red zone. And if it comes down to our defense stopping them in the red zone, I think we can have a chance to do that. And every week so far this season, I mentioned this to some of my guys that are Ravens fans. Like every week so far this season, the team that gets the most hype after a win seems to come crashing down the next week after that, whatever that looks like. And so far this week, it's either the Eagles get the most hype for beating the Dolphins or the Ravens get the most hype for beating the Lions. And we've talked nothing about how good the Ravens have looked and how good they are this week. This is the definition of a trap game, the absolute definition of it. So I'm excited to see this team come out to play. Like I mentioned, for my prediction, if Kyler Murray, I'm not giving a score because I have no idea how this game could go. They could either get real hectic or be a really ugly game. But Kyler's playing. I'll give us the win. If not, I'll give us the loss. So how are you guys feeling about this game?
I feel like if Kyler doesn't play, like the first thing that came in my mind was like we're gonna get blown out. Like maybe we might get 16 points, but realistically, I'd see Baltimore like running up the score on us, probably in the 30s. So probably like 31-13, maybe.
31-13.
Yeah, if Kyler doesn't play. If Kyler plays, I'm still not really confident that we'll win. You know what I'm saying? The game. I'm confident in Kyler no matter what, but it's his first game back, practice time, stuff like that. But I definitely think we cover. So like, 10 points. It'll probably be a touchdown game.
Okay. Game. How about you? My optimistic man, talk to me. I know I'm here on the optimism train. Where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, if Kyle doesn't play, Corey, I pretty much share your same sentiment. If he doesn't play, there's no way we have a chance. Even like I like the point you made too about like teams that have like played above and beyond 1 week have kind of gone on to like kind of crap the bed the next week. So that being said, if Kyler does play, tough to throw a score on it like you said, but I can just see it being a weird game. If he plays, Cards take it. Like, I'm gonna say like, I think we're gonna score. So I'll say like 31 to like 22. Like just some weird, something's gonna happen. Blocked extra point. Like just, I'm telling you, it's gonna be a weird game. It's gonna be a funky game. If nothing else, disregard everything I've said except the fact that this game is gonna be a weird one, especially if he plays. Like, I don't know, man. I like Corey. I feel like you've talked me into him playing.
Sure.
I was saying 15%. I feel like I'm up to like a 25 now after hearing you go.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get too excited because this team's been known to let me down pretty much my entire existence. So,
very true.
But if he does play, I almost feel like we might have like a 2021 week 1 at Tennessee type of Kyler game. So
okay, yeah, that'd be lit.
Hey, we'll see what happens. But I'm excited to see. I'm gonna be glued to Twitter to see if this guy comes and gets activated off that 21-day practice window.
If Kyle, two things. I got my aunt. She's having a birthday dinner on Sunday, and I think it's at like 2:30. So if Kyler's playing, I'm sorry, aunt, but I'm not gonna be at the birthday dinner. Like I'm not gonna be able to make it.
So I'm not pulling up for that. No sir.
And then the second thing, if Kyler does play, Hollywood is going for like 14 catches, like $150 and 2 touchdowns. Like he's gonna get that man the ball. And I know Ravens fans, they talk a lot of shit about Hollywood because when he was there, he did, he had his fair share of drops. And even like last week, like one of my friends, he's a Ravens fan, and he was telling me how Lions fans, they were so hyped that they were gonna beat them. And like the only reason why they beat them last year because Hollywood literally dropped 3 touchdown passes, like literally. But so he gets some shit from Baltimore fans. So like I know he's itching for this game. If he has his boy back, like Kyler's definitely gonna try to get him the ball. And so I could see a big game from him, like a huge game.
Yeah, you guys mentioned that earlier too, or actually, I don't know if it was mentioned, but I was thinking when one of you guys was talking. Like I feel like it's very evident that the coaching staff, or at least Petzing, is trying to get the ball in Hollywood's hands. Like he's not even. It seems as though Dobbs hasn't even really been looking elsewhere besides like Hollywood and then like the occasional tight end. That's why we've kind of seen like a decrease in production for Michael Wilson. So I think Kyler coming back would help his stock a lot as well. But yeah, it's clear that they want Hollywood to be the focal point. They already said that they're not going to trade him. So they're really investing a lot of stock in him. I agree. If Kyler comes back, it could be like a two tutty, like easily like 120 plus game for that man, number 2.
Yep. And it just overall, just we know revenge games are real when it comes to players and athletes, especially in professional sports. So he has his first opportunity to, get that type of revenge game. And me, like being the person from Baltimore, obviously, like I have over thousands of dollars in this game. Not because of like, again, these have been negotiated and talked out for months now. So it was no getting out of it, but I need the Cardinals to win very badly. I don't think my financial standpoints would hold on for the next 3 months if the Cardinals lose. So I highly need the Cardinals to win this game. Just we can never win another game for the rest of the season. I really couldn't care. This is the one game I need them to win.
Well, like Jake said, you better shoot K1 that text.
Yeah,
let him know.
Yeah, I'm about to FaceTime in a few after this is over. Just letting them know, like, bro, I need you to play because a lot of bills are on the line.
Wait, I low key missed that. So Corey, you said you have like a couple thousand on this game.
Yeah, from like 10 people. I'm from here, so like a lot of people are like, oh, we play y'all. Trying to put some money on. I'm not no bitch. I can't just be like, no, I'm scared. Like I have to, put something. So like people start talking about 200. Then they start talking about, I'm like, oh, well, that's not too bad. And then next, another person's coming out like, I'll take that. 150 right there.
Yeah,
and
I
so
know how that goes.
Now we're in the thousands category now. So it is, like I said, for my next 3 months, I need them to win the game just so I can be, I can be set and not have to be paying people for up until Christmas.
Wait, so is that literally just a straight up bet?
No, this is with like 10 different people. Like this is
No, but like points wise, like it's just money lines.
Yeah, we're just a hand to hand, fair man bet. Just
that's
shake on
man.
it.
That's tough.
Dude, that reminds me of one of my buddies at work. He's like a diehard Bears fan, and one of his friends is a diehard Lions fan. So they put $1,500 on who would have the better record this year, and the kid just got smoked. I was like, we were all giving him shit. Why would
he would have to cough up that money now
because he thought Justin Fields was an MVP candidate, and
yeah,
brutal, bro.
So, like I said, I if we don't win another game, I wouldn't mind. But this is the one I like for my pocket's sake. I need them to win this game. So
gotta have it.
It'll definitely be an interesting one. I'm ready for 425. I'll be sadly at work, so I'll be having to watch the game in that sense. But I will try to catch it as much as possible, and if not, catch the replay afterwards. And if it's not going well, my phone will be blowing up endlessly.
I was gonna say regardless, if you don't have access, let me know, and I'd be happy to give you a little play-by-play in our group chat.
Not if it's not going well, then I won't really want to know. If it's going great,
we'll put the good stuff in there.
If it's going great, then lock in. Yes, please play by play, hot touchdowns here and there. I would love it. But if not, then I don't want to talk about it. So,
all right, we gotta win.
Yes, sir. I appreciate anybody that came through, watch the replay. This should be a great game. Obviously, the Cardinals have played a lot better than what people expected. So hopefully we get back to those week 1, week 2, week 3 Cardinals and give this team a real test for their money. Obviously, we came off of a couple of division games, a game against the Bengals, and as well as a game against a couple of division games, literally, and then a game against the Bengals. So excited to get out of that division game slate and get into some different teams that we won't always see. So should be a good one. But anything else y'all got to say before we get out?
JG, if you watching this, make sure you play that man Kyler this week so we can give Corey the best chance to get some bread.
I need it, JG. Bro, I need it bad. I like inject it all into my veins because, like I said, I don't want to be paying people till Christmas. So, please, if he's ready, just hey, Kyler, I'm gonna give you the start this week. He'll be very giddy. He'll be a happy man, and he may even score you a couple touchdowns and win you the game. So, definitely excited for that. But anything else from you, Jake, from Yedo?
No, that's about it. Just want to reiterate that gotta play that man. It's about time. Let's go watch some exciting football for once.
Yep, and we know one thing Kyler is not time casualty. Yes, sir. So like I said, we'll catch y'all on the recap for this game. So hopefully we're talking about a game where the Cardinals come off of a win with Kyler in the center and enjoying his very first game back as the Arizona Cardinal in this new regime, new era under Monty and JG. So appreciate y'all stopping through, and we will catch y'all on Tuesday.
All right,
y'all. Peace out.
Appreciate you, boys.